back again here at North Baptist Church in Brockton. We've come to see what's happening mid-season for their garden. As you can see behind me here, there are some things that are growing and some things that don't look like they've got anything in them. But then again, there have been some recent plantings for the later vegetables. What we're going to do first, since this is a season-long thing and we did our first recording back in mid-June, we're going to take a look at what we did on that program and then go from there and come back here, talk to Lynn, and see what's in the garden. So stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. So right now we're at the house of the pastor, Richard Reed, and his wife, Lynn, as you may remember from last year, who did a lot of the work on their garden at the church. And over here you started a lot of things out that were going to be kind of like the early plantings. Mm-hmm. What did you have?
Well, in April we started the tomatoes from seed, and I put those in the house, started them in the house. And then the green peppers I started in later April. And then these things mostly went in May. Uh-huh. Okay. There's quite a variety.
Yeah. And you'd actually, because of the really weird weather we had where the temperatures going up and down like a roller coaster, lost a little bit of some of that planting that you had done. And what did you lose on that?
Over at the church and the community garden we lost the cucumbers, but I think they were too small for us to put out. So next year we'll wait till they're a little bigger before we put them out.
Yeah.
And we planted the week before Memorial Day. So it's going now, but it's not completely done. I have 2 more beds. I have to weed and then put the peppers in.
You planted some new cucumbers to replace the ones that kind of got baked in the sun earlier.
Yes.
Where have we got those? We just take a peek and see how they're doing.
All along this edge here. And these I just put in last week. And it says watermelon, but I think with the watermelons died out. So these are all cucumbers now. But back there are the healthy cucumbers.
Back in the back row here? Yep.
Yes. So.
And you're growing some stuff for your own house in here too.
Yes.
What have we got here?
These are the radishes.
Oh, radishes.
And
good for salads.
Yes.
Among other things.
Yes. But I hope they grow quickly, because once it gets hot, they're very bitter. They like the cooler weather. Mm-hmm. So we should have been having radishes by now, but I pulled one up and it's not quite ready.
Yeah. And you've got
the parsley that just grows. That is like 2 or 3 years old, and even when it was snowing outside, this thing was growing.
Hardy parsley, just what you need in New England.
Yes.
And right in front of that we have carrots too, I see.
Yes, these are the carrots, and they do well in here because the dirt is loose. They like loose dirt rather than the packed dirt.
I have heard they like loose dirt, and sometimes that's not so good because sometimes the seeds get washed away if you're not careful.
Right, but I put a cover over them when I first planted them, and one of those black cloth covers, and I just covered this whole path right here, and as you can see they stayed nicely in this path.
What have we got
here?
The
lettuce. Yesterday I harvested a lot of it. So
what variety is this?
Ooh, just a green leaf lettuce.
All I know is that it's not iceberg.
Right.
So.
A green leaf lettuce, and then the beans are doing well.
Yeah.
But something likes to eat them.
Oh my goodness.
And I have this closed up at night, but I don't know.
Something little is getting in here.
Something got in there. And then over here we have another kind of lettuce. This one is black-seeded Simpson. So those need to be thinned. The spinach needs to be thinned, and when they go to seed like this, you need to pluck this off.
Oh, yeah, that keeps them from flowering and...
Right. Unless you want to keep these seeds. Gotta pick them. So the spinach goes up to here, and then we have kale. And you can tell by the curly, jagged edges that this is kale.
And behind here we have some...
And these are bell peppers.
Bell peppers. Oh, I remember seeing those last summer when we were
Yes.
looking at things. And behind them, we have all
the
kinds
winter
of
squash. Back there we have acorn. Here we have butternut. And over here the pumpkin. And they need to be thinned out too, which is why I have these containers here. Some of my neighbors want some of these, and then we'll put some.
Oh, being a good neighbor.
So this is the bed of beans, and they've been growing for about a month. So we expect to have flowers on them soon, and after that the bean.
How long will it be before you will be able to harvest beans from these?
Oh, it should be soon. It should be another couple of weeks.
Just a couple of weeks. Boy, that's fast.
Yes.
And this looks familiar.
The peas have been growing since late April because they didn't mind the cold. So I went ahead and planted them then.
And people can see the flowers right on the peas.
The flowers are already there, so we'll be having the peas within a week.
Nice and tall, and
yes,
peas love to climb, don't they?
They do. So we have some fencing for them, and we keep their feet covered with mulch.
Okay.
They like their feet covered.
And
this we let the mint grow this year. I hope to clear the bed of mint and put it outside the bed next year. Then we can use the bed for vegetables.
Pull the leaves off, let them dry, and crunch them up, and you'll put them in your spice cabinet.
Yes, we'll harvest some, and then we'll plant some others.
Okay, what have we got? Oh, here's an empty bed. Does this one have anything in it yet?
It does. I planted kale in this row.
Okay, we can almost see the
little curly leaves.
Yes, the little curly leaves. They're awful small now, so it's hard for old folks like me to see the difference in the leaves there.
And then behind that is the Swiss chard.
Swiss chard next to that, where that little marigold is coming up there and down this way.
That whole line.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does one do with Swiss chard?
Oh, it's a green, just like your other greens, like spinach.
And kale, so you use it basically in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And I will add broccoli and spinach to this bed.
That's going to be on the near side that we're standing next to then.
Right. They'll be over here, but I'm waiting for them to get a little bigger so that they're not bombarded by the wind.
And maybe a little bit stronger too, so they won't be hardier, so that the coolness won't affect them.
Right.
And we have something that's not even growing in a bed here.
Yes, we let the strawberries grow wild. We started with a dozen plants, and now I can't even count how many plants there are, but as you can see, the berries are coming in nicely.
And they are...
Somebody's been enjoying them already.
Well, I know from experience that chipmunks love strawberries.
Yes, and my friends' grandchildren will come over here and help the chipmunks out and eat the rest of them.
And these are small berries too, so they're much sweeter than the ones you get from most of the commercial places who like the big ones. Yeah.
Right. Yes, they're like candy.
What have we got? Oh, we got a little bit of a rock bed here. Is this something?
Oh, no, we're letting that be fallow this year.
Okay.
Last year we used it, but...
It's a good thing to let things go fallow every now and then.
So here we have summer squash, watermelon, summer squash, which is zucchini, and the yellow squash. And then I planted 3 beds of sunflowers. I only see one plant over there.
Well, who knows? The squirrels may have got them too.
They may have.
Squirrels,
Although
chipmunks.
It doesn't look like the dirt is disturbed.
Yeah.
But if they don't pop up soon, I'll put something else there.
Yeah. And now we come to the pièce de résistance of most
Yes.
gardens, tomatoes.
Tomatoes. These are our tomatoes.
What variety? Have you got more than one variety planted
Yes,
this
we
year?
have 3 varieties. Cherry tomatoes,
Uh-huh.
big boys,
Oh, big boys. Great for sandwiches.
and beefsteak.
And same thing with beefsteaks. Both of those
Nice
great for
and fat.
sandwiches. And the
Yep.
cherries are great for salads.
Now in between the rows, you can't tell yet, but I planted some herbs. This one is parsley, and I believe that one is chives, because they do well in between tomatoes.
Oh, well, in between this other row over here is chives?
So, oh, I'm sorry, it's cilantro.
Cilantro? Oh, well, that's
Cilantro.
important too.
Yep, yep. So we will have some herbs as well as the tomatoes.
You can always tell when you're at a good taco restaurant if they put cilantro in the tacos,
Oh, that's true.
because that's not a cheap herb to deal with.
Right.
Okay, if you want to just turn around there, we'll go over and see some of the other tomatoes.
Yes, and the same 3
With
varieties.
the marigolds in there to keep the insects away.
Right. Same 3 varieties over here, and in between these beds I have chives in one and basil in another.
We go down here to the other end, we can figure out which one is in which place, because
Well-
you've got them well marked down here.
Those were just planted like about a week ago, so they're not come up yet. But hopefully they'll come up soon.
Basil, you planning to make pesto?
Oh, we can. Yeah,
Because that's
Yeah.
a main ingredient for pesto,
that's right.
but it's used for lots of other things too.
Yes, basil. Yep. I use it in mushrooms.
And now we've got,
And here's the cucumber bed, which had a rough start.
yeah,
And even at home, I have a few more cucumbers I can put where I think something nipped off a few of these. Some withered, but others were nipped off by a small animal.
well, goodness knows there's lots of rodents running around.
Yeah, and the marigolds that are in here, I guess they don't keep away rodents. If I brought my dog over here, that would keep them away.
Well, for those of you who hung around and watched the beginning part of this program, you saw that we started off that last episode here in front of the Reed's greenhouse at their house in Brockton. And most of what was in there the last time, you moved down to the church, right?
Yes, for the community garden. We started it here and took it down there.
Is there anything else from up here that will be moving down there?
No, the rest stays here.
So not only is she doing gardening down at the church, she's also doing it here at her house. And so there are some things in there that look like they deserve to be seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera now, pull it off the tripod, and we'll take a walk around in there and take a look at some of the stuff that's growing in there and how well it seems to be growing inside this greenhouse. Bear with us. Okay, Lynn, let's take a look at what you've got in here. And take a look on down on the left-hand side there first.
Okay. We
And
have,
I see some peppers right down in the front here.
yes, these are the bell peppers. And we had a groundhog come in here and eat some of the leaves.
Well, groundhogs will eat all kinds of different things.
But he didn't eat too much of the hot peppers. The taller ones are the hot peppers.
Maybe he was not a Mexican groundhog.
And so we will be seeing peppers soon. We have one pepper here coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the next plant has some, and the next... Those are probably jalapenos.
Wow. Well, I don't know what the difference is between hot peppers because I'm not such a hot person myself.
Okay.
I can usually use a couple of drops of Tabasco, but that's as about as far as I go with those.
Yeah.
Okay, and behind them we've got some.
We have
winter squashes?
Winter squash. These are pumpkins.
Oh yes, I remember you said you were going to transplant those
Yes.
the last time we were here. Not
No.
quite time for that yet, huh?
No, we're going to keep them here.
Oh, okay.
And the butternut squash
Yeah.
are here. And further down we have Hubbard, and I think that's all the,
I see a
the
pepper
different
plant
kinds.
down there behind that chicken
Yes,
wire.
I put that there because the groundhog came in this window,
Oh.
and so I wanted to deter him with a hot pepper plant. And some of my hot peppers are in pots, so I'm able to move them around the garden.
Mm-hmm.
The kale is pretty much done. We had lots of good kale. We had spinach and lettuce.
Okay. Why don't we take a look at that from the other end when we get around there? But right now
Sure.
we want to take a look at these tomatoes. I mean,
The tomatoes are very
they're like
huge.
5 feet high
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and this is the cherry one. That one's a cherry one also.
And we should see some, oh, there's some tomatoes right there on them.
Yes.
And still flowers too.
Yes.
So that means you've got lots of tomatoes to come.
Right.
And this one here,
That one looks like a cherry. I did not keep the labels for the ones here.
hard to tell because the tomatoes are still kind of small on that
Right,
one. And you've
so-
got peppers around these two, another more, oh
Yes.
yeah, that's hot peppers. I can see the little jalapeno in there. More deterrence for the groundhog, right?
Right. They were on the shelves in the back, but they weren't getting enough sun, so I brought them
Yeah.
up front here. And the idea with the pots is that they can come in over the winter, and we can enjoy hot peppers
Oh.
during the winter.
And the carrots have grown a bit bigger since the last time we were here.
Yes, although they're really not ready for plucking yet.
Yeah.
There's watermelon growing there.
Oh, that's going to take up a lot of space when that gets going.
It is, so it's all by itself. And a few more hot peppers here. And
You
a
may
few,
have found a cure for groundhogism.
few onions, and then beans.
Onions, when they get this size, they look exactly like chives.
Yes.
But they won't for long, will they? They'll put out a
No.
little bulb and have all kinds of fun stuff going on.
My parsley plant has been here for years.
Yeah,
and it
There's an older branch there, and there's a younger branch here. You can kind of tell by the
Yes.
color.
Mhm.
And there's even flowers coming out on it still. So
Right,
that's- parsley goes on forever.
right.
Maybe Paul Simon should have said parsley, parsley, rosemary, and parsley. And what have we got here? Is this beans?
Beans.
Still more beans, and these look like they're still growing. Little
They
limp,
are,
but they're still
because-
looking green and good.
They got attacked by the groundhog,
Oh.
and then
Got a flower there.
they came back after he left them alone, and so now I'm hoping to get beans. Here's our cucumbers.
Oh, those aren't looking bad either.
Right.
They're certainly a lot bigger than they were the last time we were here.
Radishes did not do well. I don't know why, because the year before they did very well in here.
Well,
So-
you said when the weather gets hot they get bitter, so that must have happened real quick.
Right, but we didn't even have any plants before that. They were all like this.
And where
So
the radish should be is nothing but a little bit of red tinge to the root.
I'm not sure what the deal was. Unless they don't like cucumbers, I should research if it was a good companion to the cucumbers. Maybe it
Okay.
wasn't.
And,
We have a few more beans back here.
oh,
and
still
these,
flowering?
yes, these the groundhog did not get. I have a hot pepper plant right next to them.
I think you may have discovered the answer to all that. Okay, what have we got over here now?
Strawberries.
Oh, yeah, there's actually a flower on one of those plants.
Oh
over
yes, they've been producing.
there. So that's a little late for strawberries, but
I know,
boy.
but they still are going.
And what have we got down
And-
here in the front?
This is lettuce.
Lettuce.
There may be arugula mixed in with regular leaf lettuce.
Well,
Oh, actually, arugula is right there.
which one is the arugula?
The notched leaves.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All good salad greens.
Yes, all good salad greens. The groundhog thought so too. But now he saved a few for us.
And that's the plant that reminds you to say grace. Let us pray.
Oh. Right.
And we have this is the
Those are
this is still more of this winter squash.
winter
from Garden.
squash, right?
Yeah. Is that anything behind it there that's growing up right next to the vine?
Yes, I have mint.
Oh, mint here too.
Invading my greenhouse.
It's an invasive species.
It's behind the greenhouse, and so it comes up, and I have to keep pulling it. But I will get to that, and here's some more mint here. Yep, they find their way inside.
That's one of the nice things about herbs is they take care of themselves pretty much.
Yes, right.
Okay, let's go outside and we can kind of send ourselves down to the church now to see what's happening down there.
Okay.
Well, that's the end of our tour through the greenhouse. You've got some really good looking plants in there.
Yes, we look forward to a good harvest.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to move down to the church and show you what the changes are down there. So it's time for us to get in our cars and buzz on out of here. Today, Lynn, we're going to check and see what you've got ready coming up for later in the season. Now, you've already had a bit of a harvest. I mean, we found that out last time, the beans and the peas. What else has been harvested since the last time we talked?
The beans, the peas, that covers it.
that covers it. Okay, but you've done some other planting over here, because I can tell that some of the frames that had nothing in them the last time now have green in them.
Yes.
So
a lot has been planted, and they're coming up, so we're looking forward to August and September harvesting some more.
Well, that'll be fun. We'll be back somewhere in there and shoot the final harvest. Yep. Now, do you have any other plans, things you're thinking about doing for the garden that may not happen right now but will be happening?
Yes, we need to move a couple of the beds. They're too shaded, so we're going to put them out in the sunny area. And then we also hope to completely redo the walkways, get rid of the grass in between, and maybe put mulch or stone.
Okay, yeah, well, that would certainly keep the grasses from multiplying into the beds, wouldn't it?
Yes, and the weeds.
And the weeds. Well, I figured that's probably what grass is when it gets in the wrong place, right?
Right, right.
A wise person once said that a weed is anything you don't want.
Yes.
So, and when you're dealing with vegetables and even a lot of flowers, grass isn't something you really want to have in your bed.
Right.
You should see my lilies at my house. I mean, you can't see the lilies for the grass.
Oh.
Okay, well, we're going to stop now so that I can grab the camera off the tripod, and we'll go inside and see what's happening in the garden. Well, then, here we are back in the garden again, and the first bed we've come to is the beans, and I'm surprised because I thought that harvest was over.
Oh, no. I don't know if I planted them late or what, but they're just, we're just starting to harvest them the past week or so, and they look good and healthy. They are all bush beans, which is why I don't understand why two of them grew vines. And I had to put them up on a stick here to hold them.
We could make some little joke about vine videos, but I don't think that would work since people have forgotten what vine is by now.
Yes. And they were actually growing over other beans and choking them, so I had to put them up on a stick. And I do prefer the bush beans. They're a lot less work. We've
got flowers on some of these bush beans here.
So we'll still be...
You're going to have a plentiful harvest on the second bean harvest too.
Yes.
Here's another bean that's getting ready for picking right over here. And we have got buds galore over here on this particular plant.
Yes.
Look at those buds. Holy moly.
We'll be eating them yet for a little bit.
And there's another bean in there, and another one over there. How did you manage to come up with so many beans extra? I mean, this is such an unusual thing, because the beans tend to like the colder weather.
Oh, yes, I know. And I planted them, I thought, early enough, but yep. Here we are in the middle of summer, and there's still beans.
And just starting a little heat wave.
Yeah.
Gonna have to throw some extra water on these probably.
Yes, and we have lots and lots of mulch on it. So
Do you think the
that
cool
helps.
nights we have had most of the summer so far might have anything to do with it?
Yes, and then they get shade from these trees here.
Uh-huh.
So they're,
Early morning shade for those.
yes.
Yeah. And we turn around here and we've got peas.
And we still have peas, even though their month is past, but there's still some good peas here, and they're very tasty. I just had
there's a big fat pod right
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Right. And you can pick them when they're skinny pods and eat them in a salad, or you can wait till they're fat and then shell them.
yeah, well, you
And-
certainly don't want to try eating fully grown peas raw.
Oh, no.
You break
no.
your teeth or something.
Yes, they're hard. Hard as marbles.
Yeah. And over here, the mint is one of the beds you're planning on moving, right?
Yes, the mint has done really well there, but that's not one of our crops.
Yeah.
So we're going to...
Well, maybe if you sold it to Lifesavers for
There you
the
go.
mint Lifesavers, you know?
Well, I have a neighbor who loves the tea, so I've been
Yeah.
harvesting some for her for tea. And we'll do that before we move the bed.
Yeah. And the other bed you're moving is this one over here,
Yes.
which is lying fallow. And that's not a bad thing. Like we said the last time,
Yes, all that survived in it is a little bit of the broccoli. I don't know where the leaf plants went. We had Swiss chard, we had lettuce, we had spinach, but perhaps the birds made off with it.
basically all I can see over here right now is mostly grass and a couple
Yeah.
of marigolds.
Yes, and these are the broccoli here, but
Do
they're
you think
too...
those will survive
I
and
don't-
produce anything?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, now we turn around and we've got some squashes over here.
Yes, cucumbers. This is all cucumbers
Oh,
in this bed.
cucumbers.
Mhm.
The leaves look so similar to the
Right,
squash things, and
Right.
the flowers are the same color and everything.
right.
And-
And we did plant more, but I guess some of them died off. That's why there's so much space.
That gives the other vines a chance to grow
But,
and
yes.
maybe even produce more.
Right.
But
So-
you did have an issue with those back in the spring when you planted over
We
here,
did.
and they kind of
Yes.
died on you.
Yes.
Because when I was here the last time, you were getting ready to bring some others down. They were just about ready to
Yes.
replant.
Yeah, they had a hard start. But now that it's midsummer, they're doing well. There's lots of flowers, so hopefully we'll see some vegetables from those flowers soon.
Okay, now we'll move over one more bed here and take a look at what we've got over here, and boy, do these look familiar. This was one of the things we saw a lot of up at the greenhouse the last time.
Yes.
Peppers.
The peppers. And these are the bell peppers.
Uh-huh.
This bed is the green peppers. And then we have one of just red peppers.
Do we see any buds that are looking like they're starting to grow into peppers? Oh, I see one
Just
flower
one.
over there.
Yeah.
Let me get in close so the folks at home can see that. And, oh, there's a couple of little buds right in the middle of that one.
Yes, over there too at the end. I believe there's...
These may be coming in oh, there's a couple of little teeny buds just starting on that
Yeah.
one.
that
And-
one there, I think.
This one here. Oh, there's a bud in there.
Mm-hmm. So they're
And
slow.
there's even another one over there.
Yep, they're slow
So-
coming, but
They're slow coming, but when they come,
yeah.
you'll be ready for them.
Yes.
Okay, now if we move over, we got another bed of peppers here.
Yes, these are the red bell peppers. And
take
again, lots of mulch for them. Otherwise, they dry right up.
lots of mulch, lots of water.
Yes.
Especially this week, I
Yes.
suppose.
Every night I come and water. Well, I didn't have to last night because of the rain.
Yeah.
And
And not to mention the night before that one, too.
right.
Oop.
And some of the
Is this
mulch.
one here
Yeah,
leaning a
he
little
needs
bit?
a stick.
He needs a stick.
Some of the mulch is grass clippings, and some is mulched leaves from last fall.
And I don't see any buds on these yet. Do the red ones usually come in a little later?
Not usually, but maybe we planted this bed after the green one. I'm not remembering right now. It could have been a day or two after.
Well, if it were me saying that, I would say there's another senior moment for you.
Well, I have it all written down in my notebook at home, which I didn't bring today, so I'm not sure when these were planted. But we will see. I'm sure we'll see some flowers on them soon.
Okay, and behind you we have, these are cherry tomatoes over here that I'm looking at the moment. Oh, look at these. These look like they're about ready to start turning red.
Yes. Well, we have 3 kinds of tomatoes in this bed. Yes, this row is cherry.
Yeah, I was just noticing a little bigger one that shouldn't be a cherry size.
Right. This row is beefsteak.
Yeah.
And this row is also beefsteak. I thought we had 3 kinds.
Well, as I remember, you did mention something about that the last time, but I've forgotten what variety it was myself, but it's one of those varieties that is a lot like a beefsteak anyway.
Right, right. I think it's going to be a big variety as we have here.
Look at the size of those. Those are not cherry size.
No.
Am I seeing that one, or am I disguising it with the... There it is. Now I can see it. And there's one over here. This is a even bigger one. Where?
And we tried planting herbs in between the rows, basil and chives, but they didn't come up. So,
well, that's too bad, because basil, chives, and tomato would make a great pesto or some other sauce for pasta. And
even when they're growing, it's supposed to be good for the plants.
Oh.
But they disappeared.
Here's a bountiful harvest back around to this good one over here. What a bountiful harvest on that one.
And we did the same for these tomatoes. We planted cilantro in between and parsley. And those did come up. And you can see the cilantro over here in between the tomatoes.
Look at the cilantro, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And that has a distinctive smell.
This is cilantro too. This is just new leaves coming out up on the...
Yes.
Okay.
These tomato plants are a little bigger. I think it's because they get more sun.
Yeah. So I was just noticing we've got quite a few coming out on this particular plant here.
Yes.
And the cherries are the ones in the middle?
Cherries are on the end here.
Uh-huh.
And these are beefsteak. So the ones in the middle are Rutgers. And those will be a big tomato also.
Oh, yeah, because these little ones in here that I'm seeing are a little too green to be cherries, because they're too green to be that size, I think.
Yeah.
And we've got, this is quite the bed over here. This has got a lot of tomatoes growing on it.
Yes. Yeah, I think they get a little more sun in this bed, so they're really big
There's
here.
A beauty right there. And with the cilantro right next to it. And we'll just walk around. Do you have any idea what this...
Yes. Well, I don't remember the name, but when I bought it at Nasrallah, it was covered in bees. So I said, that's what I want.
Bee attractor.
I want plants that will bring the bees in, because our landscapers are really good at cutting down the weeds and the grass, but then there's nothing for the bees to feast on.
Well, I'm also noticing way down outside the garden down there, you've got Queen Anne's lace, and I think that brings bees out too sometimes.
Yes, it does. That came naturally, but these 2 purple plants had to be added this year so that we get the bees. And as you can see, there are some bees over there on it.
This even has
clover in it.
Clover coming up in the middle, which attracts bees too.
It does.
And there are bees. There's one right over there that's busy doing his job. Let's see if we can get him to come around where we can see him here. There we go. There we go. Kind of looks like somebody beat him to the flowers, because he's not spending much time on any of them. Okay, now since we're right next to this bed, now
This is
this
summer
is a
squash. Yes. Zucchini or the yellow one. And
it's too early to tell because it's
Yeah.
still in flower.
although they might be on the markers there. That one says butternut squash, actually. So on this side, yeah, that's right. I planted winter squash on this side and summer squash on this side. And we don't use pesticides in the garden. And when we find poison ivy, the kind of repellent that I use is vinegar with a cup of salt in it and a tablespoon of detergent. And we use that on the poison ivy, and it kills it.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes, without killing bees.
And it's probably also a lot more economical for people to mix their own and do it that way.
Right.
So remember that recipe, folks, and if you've forgotten it, watch the next airing and you'll be able to write it down. Let's take a look at some of these others. This one, this has got to be the plant over here that gets the most sun, I would imagine.
Yes, right.
And these all look like they're doing fairly well.
Yep.
There's a little unopened bud right in there. And
Yeah,
there's an
lots
even
of
littler one right up there. The more flowers, the more fruit.
Right. And they need to be staked on a fence. I haven't gotten around to that yet.
There's a little chore for you and Adna to do sometime when she gets over it. Wish we had seen her this year, but she's got other issues she's dealing with right now.
Right.
We'll have to make sure we get her here for the final harvest.
Yes. She's been good about helping me weed and take care of the garden.
There we go, there's the other. That one says acorn squash, so we know it's
Yeah, so the winter squash are on this side. And there's a little smaller, but that's okay because they'll be growing longer into the season.
Yeah.
We expect them to still be growing in October and November. So I'm sure they'll be producing by then.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Okay.
these summer squash, they'll be soon. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
They're yummy.
Well, if we step outside now, we can put the camera back on the tripod and kind of wrap things up here for the brief mid-season episode of Garden Spaces at North Baptist Church. So we'll shut the camera down and move back outside the garden. Well, that was a good tour of the garden here. There's a lot of stuff that's pending, some stuff that's even still growing and producing fruit. I think we can call beans fruit for this particular thing. It's not a fruit per se, but it's the fruit of the earth.
Right, right.
So when do you think we should kind of plan for the next spring to get the final harvest? Do you want to August or you wait till September?
September, yes.
About
September.
how far through September?
Oh, halfway.
Halfway?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. You'll see more from the North Baptist Church's community garden come mid-September. Garden Spaces is looking for more gardens to show on this program. If you would like to show your garden, flower, or vegetable to folks in Whitman and Hanson, send an email to info@whca.tv, put Garden Spaces on the subject line, and put your contact information in the body of the email. We'll get back to you.